All right, so moving on to a new unit. This is called integers. That's what that word right there is. A lot of kids pronounce it, but it is integers. And pretty much integers are positive and negative numbers. I know that a lot of my face-to-face kids have been asking, like, when are we going to be working with negative numbers? And now the time is here. Couple definitions real quick. An integer is our whole numbers and their opposites. Okay, so you can have positive and negative fractions, you can have positive and negative decimals, but they are not called integers. If you're an integer, you have to be a whole number, which hopefully we know a whole number is exactly what it sounds like. It's a whole number. It doesn't have a decimal with it, doesn't have a fraction with it. It's just a whole number. And then it says they're opposites. Okay, well, the next definition is opposites. So it says two numbers that are the same distance from zero on a number line, but going in opposite directions. So in other words, if you have the number 4, the opposite of 4 is negative 4 because it's the same distance from 0, but just going in the opposite direction. All right, so the opposite of negative 7 would be positive 7. Opposite of 13 is negative 13. Okay, so opposites, you're going to have one positive and one negative. 0 doesn't have an opposite. 0 is just 0. You're not going to have a negative 0. So 0 is one of those weird ones. But even 1, the opposite of 1 is negative 1. So like I said, when you have opposites, you've got one positive and you got one negative, and they're opposites together. Okay, so kind of as a visual, if I gave you a number line, we're about to be using number lines a lot, so get comfortable with them. If I gave you a number line and let's put 0 in the middle, so we got 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. A lot of kids are not comfortable when they do the negative side because they feel like it's going backwards, which it kind of is. So just get used to that, practice it, because I want you to be comfortable with how to use it. So if I asked you, like, what is the opposite of 3? Well, how many jumps away, or what's the distance from 0 to 3? So we've got 1, 2, 3. So then the opposite of that would be, if I go the other direction, 1, 2, 3, and here's the opposite. Okay, so you're going the same distance from 0, just in the other direction. Okay, so you got positive 3 and negative 3. Those are opposites. Okay, next definition. Positive number. It is a number greater than 0 and to the right, to the right / above 0 on a number line. Okay. So like I said, we're going to be using a lot of number lines. So it's definitely something that you need to get comfortable with using. Sometimes they'll be up and down. Sometimes they'll be side to side. So just get used to seeing those. So when I say it's to the right of 0, that's like this right here. So any number to the right of 0 is going to be a positive number. When I'm talking about being above 0, that's when you have a vertical number line. So like here's your number line. You would have 0 right there, and then everything above it would be positive, and then obviously below it would be negative. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, but below 0 you've got -1, -2, -3, -4. So typically when you see a vertical number line, it's usually dealing with temperature. All right, and then you have horizontal number lines that we use a lot as well. Okay, so then a negative number So less than 0 and to the left / below 0 on a number line. All right, so once again, if you have a horizontal number line, anything to the left is going to be negative. If you have a vertical number line, anything below 0 would be negative. Okay? All right, so you're going to come across some words in problems that are going to let you know whether they're talking about positive or negative numbers. Obviously, a lot of times when you're working with a negative number, there'll be a negative beside it. But sometimes they might just put it in a sentence and there might not be a negative in front of it. So here are some keywords that you're going to need to know. So we have a positive list, and then we'll make a negative list as well. All right, so my positive words would be yards gained. All right, so that's pretty much talking about football. So if they carry the ball, they've gone positive yards. That's a good thing. We have increase, rising, deposit, above sea level, and profit. All right, there are tons and tons more, but these are the main ones that you'll see. Deposit, a lot of people get this one confused because they see DE and they think it's bad, like decrease. But this is actually a good thing. And if you take off the DE, the rest of the word looks like the word positive, so it is good. Deposit is when you put money into your account. So for example, Pitt County Schools deposits money into my account every single month. All right, that's money that I'm getting, so that's a good thing. Profit is when businesses make money. So for example, if Foot Locker bought a pair of shoes for $70, but then they sold them for $100, well, they made a $30 profit. Okay, so once again, profit is a good thing. Which once again, it looks like a positive word because it starts with the word pro, which is usually a positive thing. All right. On my negative side, I've got yards lost, which once again is talking about football. If you go backwards, that's not a good thing. Decrease, falling, withdraw, debt, and below sea level. Okay. Withdrawal means you're taking out money. So if you have $100 in your bank account, you withdraw $20, you now have $80 in your bank account, which the money's still yours, but most of the time if you withdraw money, you're going to spend it. So that means you're losing it. So this would be a negative thing because you're going to be losing that money. Debt is when you owe somebody some money. So if I can't afford to buy my lunch and my friend buys it for me, I'm in debt to her now. If my lunch was $10, I now owe her $10, so I'm in debt. I need to pay that money back. Okay? All right. So those are just some key words that you'll need to keep in mind. Last part of our notes is we're going to be comparing integers. So looking at two different integers and seeing which one's bigger or smaller. So one thing you need to remember with this, when comparing integers, the number that is farther to the right is always greater. Okay, so we're talking about a number line. So when you have a number line, whichever number is farther to the right is going to be bigger. Okay, so for example, I have this number line right here. Okay, here's 0. If they ask me to plot the points -5 and -20, okay, well, which one of those is on the right? -5 is on the right, so that means -5 has to be bigger. Whichever one is on the right is going to be the bigger number. So let's look at some examples, and I'm running out of room too, so if you are, don't worry, we're almost finished. If I give you -26 and -15, all right, and I said, tell me which one of those is bigger. All right, well, think about it. Which one, if you're on a number line, which one of those is going to be on the right? Okay, so think about it. Here I am at 0. I start going this way. I start going this way. I'm going. I'm going to get to -15, and then keep going. I'm going to get to -26. So -15 is bigger because it's on the right. All right, another thing you can think of with negative numbers, whichever one's closer to 0 is going to be the bigger one. That's only with negatives. All right, so if you have two negative numbers, whichever one is closer to 0 will be the bigger number, which sounds weird because you don't want to be close to 0, but with negatives you do. All right, let's try another one. -3 and -6. Okay, they're both negative, so I can ask myself, okay, which one's closer to 0? If you start at 0 and start moving, which one are you going to get to first? I'm going to get to the -3 first, so -3 is bigger. So I remember the alligator wants to eat the bigger number. All right, another one. -8 and 20. Okay, a lot of students get caught up in all the rules and stuff, and they forget their common sense sometimes. This one's negative, this one's positive. Okay, a positive number is always going to be bigger than a negative number, okay? Because this one's always going to be bigger than 0. This one's always going to be less than 0. So this positive number is always going to be bigger than 0. But also, bigger than the negative. But also, if you think about it, like I said, if you plot 20 on a number line, 20 is going to be over here. -8 is going to be over here. So which one's on the right? If -20 is here, -8 is here, 20 is on the right. So that one has to be bigger, okay? The other part that I was going to show you, I'm running out of room, I'm also running out of time, was just ordering fractions, so putting them in order from least to greatest. So once again, you're just going to want to look at those numbers, see which ones are farther from 0, which one's on the right, and you just need to put them in order from least to greatest. You can definitely use a number line to help you with those, but like I said, you just want to lay them out and put them in the right order to make sure that they are far from 0 or on the right. Okay.